Have you ever noticed how discreet cats are when something's not right? They don't show pain in an obvious way. No loud meowing, no drama. But their bodies do give off signals. And if you pay close attention, you can figure out what's going on. In many cases, what's behind these behaviors are parasites, tiny invaders that can cause serious health problems for your furry friend. That's why, in today's video, we're going to show you the main signs that your cat might have parasites, explain how these organisms work, and of course, what you can do to protect your four-legged companion. And if you enjoy learning more about your pet's behavior and want to give them a happier, healthier life, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We post daily videos made with care and responsibility just for you. What are parasites? Parasites are organisms that live inside or outside another living being, in this case, your cat, and feed off them to survive. They can be external or internal, and often they act silently. They settle into the cat's body and start causing damage before we even notice anything's wrong. External parasites are those that live on the skin or in the fur of the animal. The most common ones are fleas, ticks, and mites. They cause itching, irritation, wounds, or even more serious infections. Internal parasites live inside the cat's body, mostly in the intestines, but they can also affect the heart, lungs, and even the blood. These include intestinal worms like roundworms and tapeworms, as well as protozoa like Giardia. How cats get infected with parasites. A lot of people think that because their cat lives indoors, it's completely safe from parasites. But even the most homebound cats can get infected. External parasites like fleas and ticks can enter the house through clothes, shoes, or even other animals that live with the cat. Just one flea is enough to start an infestation. And if your cat has access to the street or backyard, the risk goes up a lot, since they can come into contact with infected animals or contaminated environments. Internal parasites like worms and protozoa can be picked up in several ways. One of the most common is by ingesting worm eggs found in contaminated places, like soil or even a shared litter box. Cats that hunt small animals like mice or insects are also more exposed, since their prey might be carrying parasites. Another important point: fleas don't just cause itching, they can also transmit intestinal worms. When a cat licks itself to clean and ends up swallowing an infected flea, it can get a tapeworm, for example. Signs of external parasites. Many times, a cat infected with parasites might be suffering without showing obvious signs at first. That's why it's so important to recognize the behaviors and symptoms that suggest something's wrong. Let's start with the signs your cat might show when dealing with external parasites. One of the first things you might notice is constant scratching. If your cat is scratching a lot, especially around the head, neck, or base of the tail, that's a red flag. Sometimes they might even bite or lick those areas excessively, trying to relieve the discomfort. Over time, this can lead to wounds, scabs, and even hair loss in certain parts of the body. Another very common sign is the presence of tiny black dots on the skin or fur that look like dirt. But be careful, this could be flea droppings. A simple trick is to place those dots on a damp white paper. If they turn reddish, it's digested blood, meaning fleas have been feeding on your cat. Mites are also silent troublemakers. One of the most common types causes ear mange. If your cat is shaking their head a lot, scratching their ears frequently, or if you notice dark, smelly wax inside the ears, it could be a sign of a mite infestation. This is very uncomfortable and, if left untreated, can lead to a more serious infection. Cats can also be affected by ticks, especially if they go outside or live with other animals. Ticks attach to the skin and feed on the animal's blood, and they can transmit dangerous diseases. Signs of internal parasites. One of the most common signs of internal parasites is frequent diarrhea. If your cat has soft stools or mucus in the feces, it could be a sign of worms or protozoa like Giardia. In some cases, the cat may also vomit, especially if the parasites are irritating the stomach or intestines. Another warning sign is weight loss, even if the cat is eating normally. That happens because the parasites are competing for the nutrients in the food. In kittens, it's common to see a bloated belly, like it's puffed up even though the rest of the body looks thin. That's a classic sign of a worm infestation. Pale gums are also something to watch out for. They can be a sign of anemia caused by parasites that feed on the animal's blood, like hookworms. These parasites attack red blood cells and can leave the cat weak, lethargic, and with little appetite. And finally, a sign many people overlook: the presence of small worms in the feces or around the cat's anus. Sometimes they look like grains of rice or tiny white threads. If you see this, it's time to contact a vet right away. How to prevent and treat. Now that you know the signs that your cat might have parasites, it's time to talk about what really matters: how to prevent and treat the issue. With a few simple and regular steps, you can keep your furry friend safe and healthy. The first tip is regular deworming. That means giving antiparasitic medications for both internal and external parasites on a consistent schedule. But be careful. Don't use just any product on your own. It's always best to consult a veterinarian who will recommend the right treatment based on your cat's weight, age, and lifestyle. For external parasites like fleas and ticks, there are plenty of options available: spot-on treatments, pills, collars, and sprays. What matters is choosing a quality product and following the instructions carefully. And remember, treating only the animal isn't enough. You also need to take care of the environment. Wash your cat's bedding, blankets, and toys regularly. Change the litter often. Vacuum the corners of your home, and if needed, use specific products to eliminate eggs and larvae that may be hiding around. For internal parasites, deworming medication is your main ally. It should be given as often as your vet recommends, even if your cat isn't showing symptoms. That's because many worms can stay hidden in the body for a long time before causing visible signs. Another way to prevent infection is to avoid letting your cat interact with unfamiliar animals. Cats that hunt mice, birds, or lizards, for example, are more exposed to parasites. Safe feeding is also essential. Avoid giving your cat raw or undercooked meat, as it may contain parasite larvae. And finally, keep up with regular vet visits. Routine fecal exams help detect infestations early, even when there are no obvious symptoms. And the earlier the problem is found, the easier and more effective the treatment will be. If you've made it this far, congratulations. That shows how much you care about your cat's health and well-being. As we've seen, parasites may seem small and harmless, but they can have a huge impact on your pet's quality of life. And the most important part, many of these problems can be avoided with prevention, attention to warning signs, and regular vet care. So next time your cat is scratching too much, acting strangely, or showing any unusual symptoms, remember what we talked about here. Don't hesitate to seek professional help. Sometimes a simple dewormer or flea treatment can make all the difference. Now tell us in the comments, have you ever gone through something like this with your cat? What happened? If this video helped you in any way, share it with other animal lovers, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.